Donald Trump's journey into the world of business was not a solitary climb from humble beginnings. Instead, it was significantly shaped and supported by his father, Fred Trump, an established real estate developer in New York City. Fred had already built a considerable fortune through constructing and operating middle-income flats in the outer boroughs of New York like Queens and Brooklyn. This established family enterprise provided a robust platform from which Donald could launch his own ambitions. His early ventures and forays into the competitive Manhattan property market were substantially underwritten by the financial clout and industry connections that his father had painstakingly accumulated over decades. The scale of Fred Trump's assistance was far from trivial. Reports and detailed investigations suggest that the financial backing Donald received from his father, when adjusted for today's values, could amount to a figure in the realm of $500 million. This was not merely a small loan to get started, it represented a colossal capital injection. This immense financial support provided Donald with opportunities and a safety net that were unavailable to most aspiring entrepreneurs. It allowed him to take risks and pursue large-scale projects that would have been inconceivable without such a substantial familial war chest, effectively giving him an extraordinary advantage from the outset of his career. This paternal assistance was more than just direct financial transfers. It also encompassed loan guarantees, co-signed agreements, and the invaluable credibility that came with the backing of a seasoned developer like Fred Trump. When Donald first set his sights on the glittering, high-stakes world of Manhattan real estate, it was his father's reputation and financial guarantees that often opened doors and convinced lenders to take a chance on the younger Trump's ambitious projects. This foundation was critical, particularly in an industry where trust, connections, and proven financial stability are paramount to securing deals and financing for major developments in a challenging urban landscape. Consequently, Donald Trump's initial forays into transforming his father's outer borough success into Manhattan glamour were built upon this solid inherited bedrock. The narrative of a purely self-made billionaire often overlooks this crucial starting point. Fred Trump's wealth and business acumen provided not just the seed capital, but also an ongoing source of support that insulated Donald from some of the harsher realities of business failure, especially in his early years. This financial cushioning enabled him to navigate the complexities of large-scale property development and to pursue projects with a level of audacity that might otherwise have been impossible for a newcomer to the demanding central city market. Donald Trump's primary business focus, following the path laid by his father, was firmly rooted in real estate. He aimed to make a significant mark on the Manhattan skyline and beyond, moving into more high-profile and luxurious developments than his father had typically undertaken. His name became synonymous with large, often ostentatious building projects. He embarked on developing grand hotels, towering residential skyscrapers, and other commercial properties, seeking to establish the Trump brand as a symbol of luxury and success. These ventures were characterized by their ambition and frequently by their considerable use of borrowed capital, a strategy that carried both immense potential rewards and significant inherent risks for all involved. Among his most notable real estate ventures were his investments in hotels and casinos. Trump acquired and developed several high-profile hotels, such as the Grand Hyatt Hotel in New York, which was one of his early successes, achieved with significant city tax abatements and his father's backing. Later, he delved into the casino industry, particularly in Atlantic City, with properties like the Trump Taj Mahal, Trump Plaza, and Trump Marina. The casino business, known for its volatility and intense competition, proved to be a turbulent arena for Trump. While these establishments initially generated substantial attention and revenue, they also faced numerous financial difficulties, including multiple bankruptcy filings for the casino businesses themselves. Beyond hotels and casinos, Donald Trump also made substantial investments in golf courses across the United States, Scotland, and Ireland. These were often lavish, sprawling properties designed to cater to a wealthy clientele and host prestigious tournaments. The development and acquisition of these golf resorts represented a significant diversification of his real estate portfolio, moving into leisure and luxury sport. These courses frequently bore his name and were marketed as premium destinations, reflecting his strategy of associating his personal brand with high-end leisure and exclusivity. The golf segment became a prominent part of his business empire in the later stages of his career. These real estate activities formed the core of the Trump Organization's operations for decades. From the gleaming towers of Manhattan to the casino floors of Atlantic City and the manicured greens of his international golf resorts, Trump's business was overwhelmingly about property. His approach often involved bold designs, prominent branding, and complex financial arrangements. While some projects achieved notable success and became iconic landmarks, others encountered significant financial headwinds, contributing to a mixed legacy in the property development sector. His career in real estate was a story of grand ambitions, high-stakes gambles, and a persistent drive to expand his portfolio of tangible assets. Beyond the concrete and steel of his property empire, Donald Trump astutely recognized the commercial value of his own name and burgeoning public persona. He embarked on a widespread campaign of brand licensing, allowing other companies to use the Trump name on a diverse array of products and services, often in exchange for royalties or licensing fees. This strategy significantly extended the reach of the Trump brand far beyond the confines of real estate development. It transformed his name into a marketable commodity in its own right, capitalizing on the image of wealth and success that he cultivated, particularly through his television appearances on The Apprentice, which greatly amplified his global recognition. The range of products bearing the Trump name was remarkably eclectic and varied. It included relatively conventional items such as Trump-branded menswear, most notably neckties, which were sold in department stores aiming to associate the brand with executive style. He also ventured into the food and beverage market with Trump steaks, Trump chocolate, Trump vodka, and Trump natural spring water. These products sought to leverage the perception of luxury and high quality associated with his name, even if the actual success and market penetration of these items varied considerably. The core idea was that the Trump name itself could add perceived value and desirability to almost any product. Some of the Trump-branded ventures were more unusual, extending into rather unexpected territories. For instance, there were Trump-branded mattresses, Trump the Game, a board game, and even, as some reports highlighted, an association with a company marketing urine tests. These more esoteric licensing deals demonstrated the aggressive and often opportunistic nature of his branding strategy. The goal appeared to be to monetize his fame in as many ways as possible, regardless of the product category. This approach underlined a belief that the Trump brand had an almost universal appeal that could translate into sales across a wide spectrum of consumer goods and services. These licensing deals provided an additional stream of revenue that was, in some ways, less capital-intensive and lower risk than large-scale property development. While the direct financial contribution of each individual product line might have varied, collectively they helped to bolster his income and further cement his public image as a ubiquitous and successful businessman. The branding empire became an integral part of the Trump business model, demonstrating his skill in marketing and self-promotion, even as the actual performance of the underlying businesses or products sometimes proved to be less spectacular than the branding itself suggested, contributing to an overall complex financial picture. The narrative of Donald Trump's wealth is inextricably linked to the substantial financial foundation provided by his father, Fred Trump. As previously noted, this inheritance and early support amounted to a considerable fortune, estimated to be equivalent to hundreds of millions in contemporary United States dollars. This starting capital was undeniably significant. However, opinions diverge sharply when it comes to assessing how effectively Donald Trump managed and grew this inherited wealth through his own business ventures over the subsequent decades. Some observers and financial analysts have scrutinized his complex business history with a critical eye. Indeed, there is a school of thought, detailed in books like Lucky Loser, which posits that despite his high-profile deals and the outward projection of immense success, Trump may have significantly underperformed financially relative to the enormous head start he received. These analyses often point to a series of business failures, bankruptcies associated with his casino and hotel ventures, and deals that did not live up to their initial billing. The argument presented is that a considerable portion of the inherited wealth might have been eroded or mismanaged through risky ventures and high-leverage strategies, which sometimes prioritize personal gain over the long-term stability of the enterprises themselves. A compelling counter-argument often raised by financial commentators is that had Donald Trump simply placed his inherited fortune into a passively managed index fund tracking the broader stock market, his net worth today might be substantially greater than what he achieved through his active business career. This perspective suggests that the volatile world of high-stakes real estate, casinos, and brand licensing, with its attendant bankruptcies and fluctuating successes, may have ultimately yielded a lower return than a more conservative, hands-off investment strategy. The Manhattan real estate boom, for instance, benefited many investors, and some argue Trump's gains were not exceptional given this context and his initial capital. In conclusion, Donald Trump's financial story is one that began with a significant inheritance from his father, which provided the launchpad for his ambitious business pursuits, primarily in real estate and later in brand licensing. He used this capital to build a global empire of hotels, casinos, golf courses, and branded products, becoming a household name in the process. However, the ultimate trajectory of that initial fortune remains a subject of considerable debate, with some analyses suggesting that his aggressive and often tumultuous business style may not have been the most effective path to wealth maximization compared to simpler, passive investment strategies over the same period. Today, June 6, 2025, Trump's financial legacy continues to be scrutinized, particularly in light of ongoing discussions around tax policies, such as those concerning estate and gift taxes, which could have significant implications for how dynastic wealth is managed and transferred in the future. The narrative of his wealth is a complex tapestry woven from inheritance, ambition, branding, and a series of ventures that experience both soaring highs and challenging lows, leaving a legacy that is still being assessed.